Welcome to another exciting episode of Many Hats of Business, the podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Gordon, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. On this podcast, we explore the realities of business and the many hats we have to wear. I'll be speaking to some fantastic business owners about their journey to where they are today, in the hope that they inspire you to go through the tough times so that you get to relish the rewards having your own business can bring. Before we jump in, a quick reminder to subscribe, rate and leave a review if you enjoy what you hear. Your support means the world to us and helps Many Hats of Business, the podcast, reach even more curious minds like yours. Alright, let's get started. Get ready to be entertained, informed and inspired. This is Many Hats of Business, the podcast. Welcome back to this episode of Many Hats of Business, the podcast. This is a particularly exciting episode for me because I'm here with two very good friends of mine. Some of you, the eagle-eyed people, may have noticed that recently we have been posting similar things and there's something going on. I would say something fishy, but it's absolutely not fishy. But yes, so you will find out if you come along to our launch event in a couple of days' time. And I'll put the sign-up information here if you want to come along to that, exactly what's been going on. But we thought we'd come along here and have a bit of a chat and give you some insight into what has been going on. You will know Nikki Stock from episode 1 of the podcast. She was my first ever guest. And Suzanne, a couple of episodes ago on episode 11, joined me as well. So if you haven't seen those and you don't know these lovely ladies, you need to go and check those out. So Nikki, as you know, is the straight talking strategist. And you can introduce yourself again for those people that may not have seen that episode yet.
Thanks, Tanya. Yes, all will be revealed in the next couple of days. But yeah, I'm Nikki Stock. I'm a straight talking strategist. I am a mentor and I am all about helping you create profitable businesses you love that work with the life you live without overwhelm and stress. And I sprinkle that with a little bit of life by design, which again, you will find out more about as we go through this this evening or this afternoon. I don't know when this podcast is going out. And I met Tanya at an event earlier on in this year, and since then we have become great business buddies along with other guests who's going to be introduced in a moment. And it's three minds meeting as one is what you're going to get from us today.
Definitely. And yes, quite rightly, we need to introduce Suzanne. Now, one of the things, obviously, you've seen that we're putting things out together, so this has involved us having a few meetings as well. And we've ended up with a tagline, really, that basically is everyone needs Suzanne in their life. And basically, every single time we meet, she comes up with these genius little brainwaves every time, multiple times. And it just causes us to have a laugh about the fact that everyone needs a Suzanne in their life. And every time you spend time with Suzanne, you find out another reason why you needed her in your life. So, sorry, Suzanne, but now I'm going to make you into Nikki.
How do I introduce myself after that? Everyone's just going to be really disappointed with the reality, but I'm going to go with it. So, hello, I'm Suzanne Young. I run a company called Ribbon League, and I help anxious achievers become confident leaders. So I do coaching and hypnotherapy to help people really be the confident people they deserve to be. But to use Nikki's word, I sprinkle that with lots of productivity knowledge that I have gained over 25 years as a project manager. So that's kind of where I come from. Kind of sounds a bit wrong to be putting those two together, but very passionate about if you actually do the things you set out to do, you build your confidence. And actually your confidence is needed to get you good doing the things that you feel a bit uncomfortable about. So the two do go quite well together, really. My background in knowing these two awesome ladies is Tanya and I met last year, and she was pretty much unknown to me at that point, but really hit it off quite well. Nikki and I have been in each other's world for a couple of years, but actually didn't meet until earlier this year. And when Tanya approached us and said, I've got this idea, are you up for it? Without even really knowing what it was, I said yes, because working with Tanya was always going to be awesome. And then when she said Nikki was involved too, it was a no-brainer. And yes, they do rip the mickey out of me when I come up with things and they go, oh, everyone needs a Suzanne, and I get really embarrassed and laugh because I do say what I think is blindingly obvious, but clearly my brain is a little bit quirky.
No, and it's brilliant, isn't it? And it's funny actually going back to that conversation, because I texted you, Nikki, didn't I, and said I wanted to talk to you about a thing. And I told you about the thing. And then you said, like, oh, yeah, okay, and who else is involved? And I said, well, Suzanne, but she doesn't know yet. So after the call, I had to call Suzanne and tell her, because also our husbands were out together that night, weren't they? And I was, well, then my husband would mention it to your husband, and you'd know from someone else as well. So I thought, oh, God, I've got to phone and tell you now. So, yeah.
It was really funny, though, because Nikki had left me a voice message saying it was really nice to see you and Tanya together. And at the time I thought, that's a bit weird, because like there was 3 of us travelled in together, and then we walked in the venue and there was another 2 women with us. And then we sat in different places and mingled with other people. Why did you put me with Tanya? And I just thought, that's a bit weird. And then it turned out that you'd had a conversation with them and told her all about this project, and I knew nothing. And then you rang me, you texted me and said, I need to talk to you quite urgently. And I was like, oh my God, something's gone wrong. And like the boys are out together. And then you said, are you up for this project? And I was like, yeah, you don't know what it is. Yeah, but I'm up for it. Oh, good, because Nikki's involved and she knows you're involved. And I was like, she does? Yeah, well, I thought Barry would tell Richard and you'd know another way. So I thought I'd better tell you. Oh yeah, I'm up for it. Yeah.
So I think it's
very funny.
We should say that, whilst there seems to be a lot of subterfuge going on at the moment, essentially transparent, honest and open. It's just when we're plotting, we're less
and we're also very deep, aren't we? The attention to detail thing is something. So it's funny, isn't it, that Suzanne straight away picked up on this, there's something going on here, because she was putting 2 and 2 together. And essentially that's how we work, isn't it? No stone is left unturned. We are going to dive deep, really.
Yeah. But also I'm quite like naturally honest, and therefore I am really quite gullible, because I assume everybody else is as honest as me. So it was quite nice, kind of like, oh, that's interesting, but no kind of a harsh thing behind it.
No, it was, I was really pleased as well, because so we obviously haven't said anything really much about what it is about yet, but essentially we want to be telling people on Wednesday all together, but it really comes down to the messaging that we've been putting out is, sowing the seed, if you like, that 3 heads are better than 1. And we've created a thing, we're calling it a thing, and in 2 days' time it won't be a thing anymore. We've created a thing where we're going to work together to ultimately make your business journey significantly better than it is now, and bringing in our belief, as Nikki said, about your business and life working, it's got to work properly for you. That's really ultimately about everything, isn't it, that we're trying to do. One of the things that Nikki talks about a lot that really resonated with me was the Middle East. You started talking about Middle East, didn't you?
Yeah.
Talk a bit more about the Middle East.
Yeah. So, in this online space that we're all kind of stuck with, I mean, I'm older than God. And back in the day, we didn't do sales and courses and things like that online. You had to go to a place and, you bought what was on offer. But in this online space these days, there's lots of people that are offering quick fixes and offering, if you're not a 6 or 7 figure business owner, then you're not successful. And if you haven't had a 10K week or a 10K month, then maybe you're not doing anything right. But the truth of the matter is that is a really tiny percentage of the people in our world. And I love the Middle East. And the Middle East are the people who actually define success a little bit differently. So they know what success means to them. And they're not chasing 7-figure businesses, because they want to have a business that actually gives them the life they're looking for, but without all that pressure. So the people in the middle are the people that have maybe been in business, maybe a year, 18 months. They're getting to that next level. They want to nudge towards the sort of 100,000, maybe 120, 150,000, even up to 200,000, but they're stuck. And they don't necessarily have all the tools in their toolkit to enable them to get to where they want to be. And the Midleys, what's their, I often say to the Midleys, what's your magic number? And their magic number is around 5K net a month. That's not, not gross, 5K net a month, maybe up to 7, but that's it. That's what a Midley is. So they're who I really like to work with. Having said that, I have worked with other businesses that are multi-7 figure, but right now, the tribe that I like to work with are the Midleys.
Which is great, isn't it? And I mean, it's like you say, you can work with other people, but it is about, even, the thing is, sometimes the higher up you go, the less people often have the quality of life, the time element that, is something that we're all passionate about, isn't it? And I think for me, it is very much about, I've always wanted to build my life to work around my family life. So my business has had to fit in with that. So it's where my experience lies as well. As much as you can help people that want to jet set and be off all the time and working a gazillion hours, I've got quite an interest in health as well. So for me, I would know this is probably not good for you. So it would be difficult for me to encourage that when really I'd be trying to encourage, a bit more of a focus on health as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, anyone who listens to episode 1 of the podcast will know that I've had considerable health challenges and have done in the last 12 months as well. So, part of what we will do as a collective is health will be front and center of whatever we're helping you do, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And when I find people, when people say, oh, I was working till 3 o'clock in the morning and I've not done this, I'm not that, that is not a good business. That is a bad business, because if you are having to do that to keep your head above water, something within the business is wrong. And I'm hoping with this thing that we've created, that if you are one of these people who are on that treadmill and feeling really overwhelmed and stressed and working ridiculous hours, gazillion hours, not being able to spend time with your hubby or your kids or your partner or whatever it is that you like to do that brings you joy, we need to help you change that and make it easier for you.
Yeah, totally. And this is where Suzanne comes in, isn't it? But interesting you say that, because so many people, it's not even about working a gazillion hours. It's just about working more than you'd want to. And actually, you said about doing the stuff that brings you joy. How many adults, particularly women, can't even remember really what brings them joy? They don't have hobbies because they haven't got time for hobbies and things like that. And I think sometimes it's even worse, because businesses often start out as a bit of a hobby and then it becomes a bigger thing. And of course, they don't really enjoy their business that they set up as a hobby anymore either. So the hobby's gone, but they haven't replaced it with another hobby because they haven't got time. And Suzanne is brilliant. Obviously, we've talked about you need a Suzanne in your life. She's brilliant at just bringing in this organisation side and stuff, isn't she? Because Nikki's very much from a strategic point of view. And Suzanne is particularly brilliant on the actual practicalities of how we're going to do it, where we're going to do it, why we're going to do it, and just organising the whole thing. And you can really, from your project management side, you can really oversee that from an aerial point of view and see the pinch points, can't you, see that?
Yeah, so one of my gifts or curses, whichever way you want to look at it, personally I think it's a gift, is I think in process. So if you say you've got to do something, immediately I see the building blocks to get you there, or the path. And it's a bit like the Blockbusters board, if you're old enough to remember that. You can go one way and then rejoin and come back. But I like the shortcut. I like the kind of the really simple way. But I want to pick up on what you just said. For me, fun is fuel, right? If you don't have fun, you run out of fuel. And it's one of the traps that business owners fall into, and sadly a lesson you only learn the hard way, I think, but when you literally fall over. But fun is fuel, so we need to build things efficiently so you have space for fun, and without the anxiety that you've got to be doing and doing. And one of the traps that I certainly fell into early doors was I did a lot of courses, and a lot of courses over 12 weeks, which, you know, the drop-off rate was massive. The actual learning could have been condensed. And it just felt really quite heavy. And I've shifted completely away from doing courses, particularly long-standing courses, because what I realised is other people don't keep up. So I'm quite driven, and I'm big on accountability. So I will keep pace, but other people drop by the wayside, which means your peers and the people you can bounce ideas around get fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer. So I'm now a massive fan of doing a day event and just going right through what I need to learn, not with the fluffy stuff, just kind of what I need to learn. So that's kind of something that I think really works for me. Accountability, definitely, but it's all around, bizarrely, my desire for efficiency is so that I get the fun for the fuel.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, interestingly, the three of us have been working together, putting this thing together, and actually just doing that has been a lot of fun. And if you've got the right people working with you on your business and in your business, but particularly on your business, and you are trying to create something, if you've got some minds that are quick, and this works really, really well, because like Suzanne makes me feel totally inadequate because she just goes, oh, we'll just do this process. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, we could do it like that. Whereas I'm going, Mrs., you know, I love to paint pictures. I'm the big picture, blue sky strategy. This is what we're going to do. And then we've got Tanya coming in there with all her skill set on blogging and again, processes and other kind of strategies. And it works well. But the point is, we'll sit there with a big piece of paper for 3 or 4 hours and we will have such a laugh, even though we are working really, really hard, mind mapping, brainstorming, whatever you want to call it. And it's fun. And if you don't have that in your business, you haven't got someone that you can, you know, have a sounding board, somebody that you can like message and go, oh, I'm just thinking about doing this. It's going to make your life so much harder.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Tanya?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And the interesting thing is as well, like with us, you know, because sometimes it's like you say, isn't it? You're in a group setting that you've been lumped together because you're in a course with them or a mastermind with them, and you've not necessarily chosen them, you don't know them that well, and you might not have, your businesses might not be at the same sort of level, you might not have the same sort of business experience, you might be in completely different fields, and it's very difficult then if they're advising you on things. We have as a collective is a hell of a lot of experience in a very diverse area. I'm very, very about the customer because I'm in a bespoke manufacturing background, and also I've got a finance manager background. So those two skills have really served me well in business, which is what I bring when I'm working with you guys. And I just think the thing we're trying to create for people as well is that flexibility as well, because so many people, when you enter something, you're tied in for the rest of your life. You're stuck then with that one thing, and it might not serve you on an ongoing basis. And without, you know, going too much into it, what we've tried to create is a flexible approach, so that one of my big beliefs is you can't be pushing 100% of the time, which obviously goes back to the burnout thing we talked about. And in my mind, and what I wanted to be able to do when I spoke to you guys initially was to do something whereby you can go, right, okay, I'm ready for a push, I'm going to have a push, and then take the foot off the gas for a bit and just let things settle in and embed while still being supported. And I think that's going to be really powerful for people, because they'll feel that support without feeling like you've got to be on it all the time. And I think sometimes in some containers, particularly the very pricey ones, you then feel like, well, I've got to be going all the time because I'm paying all of this money. I've got to be doing it. Whereas if you can have an element where you can go, okay, well, actually, I'm just going to do an embed period, and then I'll push again when I'm ready and I'm in launch mode. I think that really gives people the flexibility and the variety, and that, you know, you're not going to get stale in your business. You're not going to resent it so much. Whereas, you know, people know I've talked about FOMO before, but there's so much now where there's a lot of FOMO. My business has always been around being available to be there for my family. And at times I felt pulled to go and do the thing because like there's FOMO and you've got to be seen and all of that. And actually you have to remind yourself, actually, what am I doing this for? And I think what we're doing will give people that more breathing space to be able to sit back and remember their why.
Yeah, and also, you know, it's like I talk about design a lot when we're working on stuff. And let's say you're creating a new product or a new service, you prototype it and you put it out there. And sometimes you have to let it stew for a bit and sit for a bit. So you don't want to keep running and running and running. You have to just let it rest. And that's when you have that downtime. That's when you can take your foot off the gas because you're just watching, waiting and evaluating. You don't have to go on to the next thing straight away. And I think that's what I've seen a lot of. People are just being constantly pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And that's why, you know, I mean, what is this I can't say it, statistic. 1 in 3 new businesses fail within 2 years. It's something really, really low like that. And it's because
check the figure, but it is, isn't it? And if you make it 5 or 10 years, you're practically like, you know, a god.
Oh, service award, isn't it?
Yeah.
At that point, yeah.
Well, like I say, you know, I've been unemployed for 27 years, you know, which means I've actually been self-employed for 27 years. But, you know, in that 27-year period, I have had many incarnations. Yeah. So as entrepreneurs, we have to be prepared to change, prepared to pivot, prepared to sidestep. And quite often, you know, again, with the middlies, you might be in a business where you're starting off now and you think this is it, this is the thing you're going to do. And you might do it for 12 months, 18 months, you might be coming up to year 3. And then you're thinking, actually, this isn't quite working for me. And you need to find something else, or you need to tweak it and change it. And there aren't many containers out there that give you the flexibility to do that, to try something on the sides and to have 3 really, really good pairs of eyes on it, giving you, and you'll have seen on some of the posts that we've been putting out in the last couple of weeks what our values are. And we are honest and we are authentic and we are transparent and we are not going to blow smoke up you. You know, if you're going to come and ask us a question, you're going to get an honest answer. And it might not necessarily be the answer you want to hear, but our why, to some extent, is to save you a world of pain. Because we've probably done it. It's probably happened to one of us. And if it hasn't happened to one of us, we will know somebody who has had it happen and we can give you the solution.
That's it, isn't it? And it's like we are solutions focused people, aren't we? You know, especially Suzanne.
Just give me a problem. You'll just give me like 4
solution. Fine. And if you ever want anything naming, also, you know, just have a meeting with Suzanne.
I'm gonna pick up a bit on what's just been said, because one of the things that I love about this container is the breadth. So the things that I recognise out of my own businesses is that my needs have changed quite dramatically, depending on what phase I'm in the business and where it's going. And as Nikki said, you know, people are putting things out there, but not actually waiting for the market feedback. And we know the market has changed massively, and it's changing at a rate it's never changed at before. And And that's not a bad thing because it gives us more opportunity, but we need to adapt with the market. And other containers out there, when they're led by one guru, one specialist, there's a real big bias. I mean, you go to universities and documents are peer reviewed for a reason, to remove the bias, to bring the breadth of knowledge in, to make sure that things aren't being polluted with a particular way of working. It's got to be my way. It's got to be my way. And the thing with Three Heads is there's not a my way. Here's a few suggestions. And actually, as a client, you actually end up with the responsibility of your own business. But actually, you get to choose. It's not a case of, well, you haven't done it my way, so it must be wrong. It's a case of, look, here are some options. This is what we would recommend, and these are the reasons why, but we will support you because it's your business and you do it for you, because the right way to manage and grow your business is your way, not our way, your way.
Definitely. I love that. I've really thought about that before, but what we're really trying to do is empower you to make good choices and good decisions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We do, don't we? We want people to feel confident and comfortable to stand on their own 2 feet, but know that we are here for them to support them in that journey. And I think for some people, it will be that they just want the sounding board and the accountability and some of training, whereas other people will want more hand-holding and more personal support. And that is what we really are bringing, isn't it? And like you said, there is no, in a lot of containers, even when people have brought in a team, the original person, if you like, the main person is the one people feel like they need to be working with to get the best results. And we really have come together as a collective to go, right, these are our skills, these are your options, you choose, and we'll help you choose, but work with the person that is going to get you the most for that period that you are in right now. Of when that changes, because businesses and life evolve, when that changes, switch to working with someone that's going to help you most in that period that you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my pet hates in the courses that I've bought have been that I've witnessed the course leaders say, well, this person left and they said it didn't work with them. And then I looked at what they've done and they haven't followed my pattern. And I'm like, but that pattern didn't work for them. And that person was anonymous until they cancelled on you. And now you know their name. That's not where my energy is. That's not where our energy is. It's very much of, do you know what? We'll help. Tell us what you need and we will help. It's your guys.
I think that's really interesting because, let's take, for example, if you are an underwater basket weaver, you are going to need a completely different set of skills and help from a biochemist who's creating a new anti-aging face cream. They are completely different. So how can one container that is prescriptive suit both those business owners? And I think flexibility. Sorry?
If you're on YouTube, you'll see that I was smiling quite a bit there. And that's because I'm really intrigued about underwater basket weaving.
That's where I went as well. I was like, oh, that sounds like a good course.
I think that's like one of those hobbies
a slightly made up profession.
But
I just wanted to obviously point out the differences that there are, and this is what we need to be mindful of, because I think it was, I can't remember Suzanne or Tanya, because I'm listening to both of you. One of you said, we can't build it and they will come, because that's what a lot of containers out there have done. They have built it in their own image because they are successful and hope that these people will come. But the reality is they lose the hearts and minds over a period of time because it doesn't fit, and I think that is one of the biggest differences, that what we have created is so flexible and so, if you like, it's bespoke to you, the business owner.
And on that note, we're keeping it small as well, aren't we? We're really limiting the numbers, and we will talk more about that on Wednesday, because I'm going to start saying far too much soon if I do that. So I'm not going to say it.
Can we put you on mute? If you're the host of this Zoom, can we actually put you on mute when we need to? No?
Yeah. Yeah, no one's got the power to stop me. You'll have to wait. So, yeah.
But small is beautiful. And I think it is, I think it's a really important point to make. You don't want to be one of thousands. You want to have a voice. You want to be in a community. You want to get to know other people that are in that community with you. And you want to build those relationships. And you can't do that when there's thousands of people in there. It's impossible.
A lot of the people that have started their own businesses as well are ex-corporate, aren't they? So they have been a small fish in a very big pond. And it's often one of the reasons why they don't want that anymore. And I think, to then, if you're going into then the business world and then become that tiny number in a big number of people again, it's a bit reminiscent of where you came from. And I think that particularly doesn't help people either.
But I think there's also something different there as well about, and it goes back to your business of many hats, is people who've been in corporate where you've got buying teams and legal teams and finance teams, get then overwhelmed with how many hats they've got to wear and therefore jump on courses to learn all of these skills when actually they don't need all of those skills sometimes. Sometimes they just need to get a couple of them and know somebody who can advise them on the others.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, that's what we're here for, is to support and say, yes, you can go and do that course, but actually you only need really an element of it. So whilst the whole courses are really nice to have, and if that's the way you want to go for it, think about how you're going to apply the knowledge. And in the short term, when maybe the funds aren't quite so big, why not do this little bite-sized training instead and put that one on your strategy for next year? Yeah. And make sound decisions, and we talk about like moving the needle forward, but make the decisions that will move the needle forward. Have your strategy, work with Nikki and work out exactly what your strategy is, because once you've got your strategy, it makes all of those decisions so much easier.
Yeah, totally. And there's a lot of shiny object syndrome, isn't there, in the
absolutely
Jesus. And like you say, if working with Nikki and you cover all of that and you go, okay, well, this is the strategy. And then if there's a case of, I'm thinking of doing this, it can be really, that wasn't part of the strategy. And it it can actually save you money because it stops you spending money on stuff that you don't need.
Yeah. I asked someone about 2 weeks ago, they were thinking about doing a course. And I said to them, that's a really good course. I know the provider. I know that she packs in quality. But is it in your strategy? I knew for a fact it wasn't. And the response was, well, it could be. Well, that tells me it's not. Yes. And this is where, like, I think us three are really very good in the fact we would very gently say, right, okay, so what are you going to do? Are you going to say no? Or are you going to amend your strategy? And bearing in mind that you've got to have fun for fuel and you've got to have life around your business, not the other way around, not business around your life. It's, your life is more important. So you either need to amend your strategy so that this course fits in, which means you've got to reduce the strategy somewhere else, or you say, that course isn't for me right now, but I'll consider it next year when I do next year's strategy or my 3-year strategy. And I think there's a lot of, don't really want to say incestuous relationships in the online space, but I'm going to say it anyway. There's a lot of incestuous relationships in the online space where people aren't necessarily honest about, is this really for you? Because they've got a benefit of getting that sale. And I've come across that. I've been recommended to a course, signed up for the course, and then, pretty much 90% of the way through, when I turned to the person who recommended it and said, this really isn't that good, they went, yeah, I didn't think it was that good. And you're like, well, hang on a minute. It turned out they got quite a kickback for recommending me. I don't think we'd ever do that because of our values, because the integrity that is very genuine about the honesty and about being so client focused.
Yeah, you're totally right. Although it does make me laugh slightly because you said we'd say it gently, and I'm looking at Nikki's face because Nikki would go, "It's a hard no."
Yeah, no, Nikki doesn't do gently. Nikki is.
She does.
I'm not cool. I do gently.
It's a bit.
I'm not a straight talking strategist for no reason. I did have a client, bless his heart, who said to me, "You should come with a health warning." He said, "It's like, you're like a doctor. I come to you and I know you're going to give me a tablet and I know I'm going to really hate taking it, but it's going to make me feel better afterwards." And it is that. And if people come to me, it's generally a hard no. If I know it's going to be like no good, because why would we even bother having that conversation? Quite frankly, we might as well move on. But, what I will always say is it going to make your boat go faster? Right now, is it going to make your boat go faster? And if you say, "Oh, well, my friend's doing it as well," and no, just because your friend's doing it doesn't mean to say it's a good idea. And the amount of people, I've had people come to me and they have spent thousands, literally thousands. I had a client a few years ago, 3 years ago, they'd spent £56,000 on courses and really learned nothing from them, didn't finish them, but it was like they couldn't move their business forward. So they were looking for the next thing that was going to make it okay, rather than looking at the one thing they needed to look, which was actually the structure of the business, what the strategy was like. I am a lot about strategy, but at the end of the day, before you even do the strategy, you've got to have the foundations for that business. So you wouldn't, put the front door with the lovely door knocker on the house before you put the foundations in. And I think a lot of business owners want to do all the lovely fancy stuff without actually putting in the processes, the customer journey. It's all very well having an amazing product, but if you don't know how that customer is going to buy that product, how you're going to nurture that customer, how you're going to take them on this lovely journey, how they are going to become your superhero, your best advocate, if you haven't got all those things in place, it's not going to be a good business. So there's all, it's the sum of the parts really, isn't it? Creating a business. And I think that's where, I think in some of the online space, it's not being addressed correctly, or it's quick fixes, which actually, do you know what? There are no quick shortcuts to this. You've got to plan it.
You've got to put the spade work in. That's the reality. And I think quite a lot of people get sold on the, you can sit at your kitchen table and work and make £1 million, right? And yes, you can, but those people are so few and far between. Yes, you can sit at your kitchen table and work, but actually growing to £1 million turnover a year, unless you are very lucky, there's no such thing as an overnight success. There's no such thing as a quick win. And those people who tell you that they're doing 3 hours a week in their business and turning over millions, like, quite honestly, they have a big team. They might be able to put 3 hours a week in, but they have a huge team who are doing the operational stuff, who are taking those ideas and making them into something. And the other thing about, I'm going to continue talking about courses, is from a mindset point of view, we can be chasing the courses because it's this course that I'm going to launch after this course, and I'm going to launch after this course, but I just got to learn that. And we can do it as a kind of a stalling technique to keep us in our comfort zone because we're a little bit nervous about being out there and being rejected. Well, the truth of business is you're not going to sell to every person in the world, which means that the majority of people in the world are going to reject your business. You're not offering them what they want. You're not the right price point for them. They're just not your vibe. Your product's not the right one for them. That's fine. Right? Quite honestly, that's really fine, because if everybody in the world came to you for whatever you sell, you wouldn't cope.
Such a good point, isn't it? Because that's the thing. And then no matter what you do, you can't deliver to that many people. Obviously, my background's in bespoke manufacturing, so it's always played a big part with me. And been a consideration for growth. And when I was in college years ago and did the finance unit, the module was about growing too fast, and it's always sat with me that people don't realise, if they haven't done that module, about the risk of growing too fast in business. And it is a really common problem, and businesses can fail just on that basis. And when Nikki just spoke then about spending £56,000 on courses, I started getting heart palpitations from the finance manager in me. So yeah, we will not let you spend £56,000 on courses if you're in our thing.
Unless it's actually an appropriate £56,000. And the course is absolutely spot on, going to give you what you want and really move you forward. And it's going to give you a good return on investment.
There's a lot of evidence for that.
But there needs to be a really good business case. And that's really kind of where we are, isn't it? We are your project change board, your finance manager.
Yeah, we're your virtual boardroom.
Absolutely.
We're your virtual boardroom. If you haven't got your own boardroom, if you haven't got those people around you, and this is not your best friend who says, you say, oh, is that a good idea? And oh yeah, go on, do it. You'll be really good at that. Just do it. And then you do it, and then you fall flat on your face. And the best friend says, oh, we'll do this one instead. We're not going to be your best friend. We're going to be really nice to you. We're not going to be your best friend, but we are your best option if you haven't got your own boardroom.
Absolutely.
I've always been bad cop. I'm comfortable with it.
I'm quite happy.
What if you can be good cop?
That leaves me with a good cop position. That's not necessarily where I am either. I kind of feel
we're 3 bad cops.
Yeah, no,
oh, there's the name.
Bad cops and slightly better.
Bad cops and the curly one. I kind of feel like we're a bit like, there's a line in Nanny McPhee, isn't there? Like, whilst you need me but do not want me, I will be here. But whilst you want me but do not need me, I won't. I kind of feel that we are who you need on your team. And that doesn't mean we're going to blow smoke up your arse at all. We're actually going to be what you need, which is actually what your true best friend should be. The person who says, when you say, does this look all right? They go, actually, no, it looks shot, and get it off. That's the person you need in business, because there's so many people surround themselves with yes people, and therefore make poor decisions because there's nobody prepared to stand up and say, are you sure that's the right thing? Or tell me why you think that's such a good idea.
I think that's a really good point, because also in working with us, you are going to learn to make those better decisions again, and to get that confidence back in your conviction, because people lose it, don't they? And it's part of imposter syndrome. It's just a massive area, and I think we could go on forever, but essentially we don't want you to feel like you've got to be in our thing forever in a lifetime because you haven't got the confidence to go it alone. We're going to support you in your growth as a business owner so that you can go it alone and know that you're bossing it, really. And whatever that looks like to you, we're not going to tell you you've got to earn 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. We don't care. We want what you want, and we're going to help you do that to the best of your ability in the best way you can, while earning the most money you can in the most tax efficient way you can, and enjoying a life that you want.
Absolutely. Yeah, very much so. I think one of the things that people should be aware of with us is we are really genuine about our clients' successes. And unlike the big groups, none of them are going to be anonymous to us. We're going to really be, I don't want to say involved because that implies that we're going to be doing work for them, but we genuinely care about our clients. We want their success in whatever definition of success is for them, but we're also going to want success for the person. So they're saying, I want to make 10,000 this month and I've got to work 60 hours this week to do it. We're going to be saying, hang on a minute. Like, Nikki's going to step in with Life by Design. I'm going to step in with Fun is Fuel. You're going to step in with health concerns. And we're going to just say, we're not sure this is the right thing for you. Does it have to be this month? Can we put processes in place to grow it much more steadily? Can we get off that feast and famine cycle that a lot of entrepreneurs are on? Let's make business fun. Let's make it successful, and let's make it so that if you have had a few failures, that you see them as lessons, not failures. Because picking up something you've just said, Tanya, about, a few poor results from good decisions will knock your confidence. Well, we need to change your perception on that. We need to see that it's market research, it's giving you so much information, you've got a way forward, and actually give you the resilience to pick yourself up and move forward with the confidence that this is just business. This is just business. Nobody makes the right decisions all the time in business.
No,
but let's not be
Roseland.
Absolutely. But let's not let that make us fearful. Quite, yeah, got a doubt. Of making decisions, because as a business owner, that's what you need to do. You need to make your decisions, and you need to be prepared to make decisions that you backtrack from, that don't drift.
I want to add something to that, because you talk about people and taking action. If you're listening to this, you're probably thinking, I'm really curious what they're doing. And I'm just going to put it out there. This isn't going to be for everyone. All right. You might be listening now and thinking, I don't know what they're doing, but this is really exciting. We are not allowing or welcoming everybody with open arms. This isn't going to be anyone can come into this. This is going to be a very much a curated container, because we want action takers. We want people who are actually going to do the work. Because at the end of the day, as our values are, your success is our success. And so, there is a bit of a mindset piece to do with this as well. And that's something that we will be working on collectively, is ensuring that any entrepreneur, any business owner that comes into this is coming in with the right mindset from the get-go. Because if you're in that space from day one, you will succeed and progress so much quicker. If we've got to work a lot on the mindset, well, actually you won't get in, because we'll be talking to you and ensuring that you are in the space that you need to be to get the best value out of this.
Yeah, we're certainly not about just taking the money, are we? That is definitely not us. Well, we need to be wrapping this up now, but what I wanted to end this with is just to say the information is below to come along on Wednesday. Come along, find out more. And if you've got any questions at all, reach out to any one of us and ask us after Wednesday. Because we won't tell you anything between now and then. So thank you so much, ladies, for coming on. And obviously, I'm very excited to see you on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Many Hats of Business, the podcast. Your support means a lot to me. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with your business friends, as they may find it useful too. If you hit the follow button, you'll be first to know when a new episode lands. See you next time.